In Manila, Mr. Pasta and Apo's intellect was legendary. Even the influential friars sought his counsel. Young Isagani, filled with hope, joined the queue of those seeking his wisdom.
Establish the grandeur of Mr. Pasta and Apo's as residents. Show a steady stream of diverse individuals arriving, hinting at his respected status. Focus on Isagani arriving, his youthful eagerness contrasting with the more world-weary expressions of those leaving. Isagani finally enters Mr. Pasta and Apo's dimly lit study. Emphasize the contrast between Isagani and Apo's hopeful demeanor and Mr. Pasta and Apo's aged, almost dismissive presence. Show Mr. Pasta remaining seated, his initial glance at Isagani and Apo's feet, and his continued writing. Isagani observes the lawyer and Apo's bald head, graying hair, and severe expression. The silence of the study is palpable. Mr. Pasta finishes his writing, drops the pen, and his expression softens slightly upon recognizing Isagani. The handshake is cordial but perhaps a little perfunctory. Isagani sits, his posture conveying his earnestness. He begins to explain the students' and Apo's aspirations and the opposition they face. Initially, Mr. Pasta listens with a detached air, as Isagani mentions key figures like the Vice-Rector and the Governor-General. Show a subtle shift in Mr. Pasta and Apo's demeanor, a flicker of concern. Isagani and Apo's clear, hopeful voice explaining the situation.
Mr. Pasta, this country, always with plans and projects. Tell me more.
Isagani expresses the students' and Apo's confidence in Mr. Pasta and Apo's potential support, carefully observing the lawyer and Apo's reaction. Show Mr. Pasta and Apo's brief grimace, hinting at his reluctance. Mr. Pasta leans back, scratching his head, a thoughtful but ultimately evasive expression on his face. He uses expansive hand gestures as he speaks of his delicate position and the need for prudence. Mr. Pasta and Apo's voice, initially sounding reasonable, becomes more convoluted as he speaks of his constraints.
Mr. Pasta, my dear young man, my love for our land is undeniable, as are my progressive ideals. However, I find myself in a rather precarious situation. Many interests are at play. Prudence, you see, is paramount. It could be most inconvenient.
Mr. Pasta launches into a verbal barrage, seemingly trying to overwhelm Isagani with talk of statutes and decrees. The visual could show him gesturing towards imaginary documents or looking slightly flustered by his own lengthy explanation. Mr. Pasta and Apo's voice becoming a torrent of legal jargon. Isagani remains composed, his reply measured and intelligent. He directly counters Mr. Pasta and Apo's arguments about submission to authority and the fragility of colonial prestige. Close-ups on their faces emphasize the intellectual battle unfolding. Isagani and Apo's calm but firm voice challenging Mr. Pasta and Apo's justifications.
Isagani, with all due respect, sir, we seek to support the government and Apo's progress. Our aims are the same, only our methods differ.
Mr. Pasta, the essence of governance lies in proper submission, adherence to the spirit of the law as interpreted by those in authority. Tact contrary, even with good intentions, undermines the very foundation of order.
Isagani, I had believed that governments, when facing challenges, would seek stronger foundations than mere prestige, which is dependent on the goodwill of the governed. Justice, it seemed to me, offers a more enduring basis.
Mr. Pasta and Apo's initial surprise at Isagani and Apo's directness gives way to a patronizing pity. He offers his good advice, placing a hand on Isagani and Apo's shoulder with a seemingly caring gesture that feels insincere. Mr. Pasta and Apo's tone shifts to one of worldly wisdom and concern for Isagani and Apo's future.
Mr. Pasta, My dear boy, such idealism is unwise. Look at the fate of those young men in Madrid. Heed my counsel. Focus on your studies, the practical aspects. Marry well. Attend to your personal affairs. The concerns of the nation are best left to others. Charity, after all, begins at home.
Mr. Pastor strokes his grey hair with a melancholic smile, seemingly convinced of his own pragmatism. Isogony and APOs. His sadness mirrors Mr. Pastor and APOs. But it is tinged with disappointment rather than resignation. He delivers his powerful final words with quiet conviction, bows and departs. The empty chair where Isogony sat emphasizes the chasm between their beliefs. Isogony and APOs. His voice, filled with a sad but firm resolve.
Isogany, when my hair reaches such a color, sir, and I reflect on a life lived solely for myself, neglecting the debt I owe to my country and my fellow citizens, then each gray hair will be a mark of shame, not pride.
Mr. Pastor remains seated, watching the empty doorway. A flicker of his past idealism crosses his face before being replaced by a look of resignation and perhaps a touch of regret. Mr. Pastor and APOs, his soft, almost muttered words.
Mr. Pasta, poor boy, I, too, once held such beliefs. The allure of serving one and APOs as nation, but the reality, poor Florentino,